Hello, this is John Jennings.
How you doing? This is Dr. Damian Duffy.
So this is the Black Comix Returns panel. If you are looking for some other panel, you've come to a better one.
Yeah.
He knows. Alright, so we're just going to start out and tell you a little bit about what this is. About, what, 6 years ago?
Yes.
6 years ago, we did this here book, Black Comix.
Who owns this?
Anybody have it? Yeah, there.
Not enough
Excellent.
people.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
Yeah, it's a little out of
It's out of print.
now, not our fault. But we decided to try to fix that by making a sequel
Yes.
with. Oh wait. Yeah. So there's the cover by Ashley Woods, who's down there, and we'll introduce you. Pretend like I didn't say that.
All right. I'm horrible at this.
Is it? Yeah. Those are people, some of whom are here. All right, anyway, so yeah, we wanted to, well, first we were talking about bringing the old one back in print, but the Black Comix culture has sort of grown by leaps and bounds since we made the first book, and it seemed like it was time to make a new volume, and the good people at Magnetic Publishing are here to help us with that. Yeah, that's us.
Yes. So basically, Damian and I have been working for like the last decade dealing with representation, race, intersectionality in comics. We're both comic scholars, curators, graphic novelists, and scholars, and have been not only like looking at this particular subculture in a particular way, but also trying to help grow it in different ways, and actually are part of it as well. So.
And so the idea with the original book and now this new book is to introduce people who may not be familiar with the culture, sort of create a gateway for people to learn about new artists, new works, new things.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
All right. And
So first thing we probably need to do is introduce our wonderful guest. Right?
yes, let's introduce our wonderful panelists. You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have the amazing Ron Wimberly.
Yeah.
AKA Crack Kirby, AKA Hoodie Guthrie, AKA Dap Dowling.
I didn't know.
You might know me from. Oh, D5.
So many things. All right. And next to Ron, we have the talented, the amazing Ashley Woods. AKA, do you have any of those?
The inscrutable, amazing Jeremy Love. I know, I like that.
Next to him, we have the inscrutable is good. I don't know if I can beat that. Inimitable Sean Mills.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Mr. David Long.
All right. He wrote that. He's not actually. Okay. Also, we should mention that the book will be kickstarted in September. So if you like what you're hearing at the panel, keep an eye out and help us make an amazing volume. All right. So I think we just want to start with everyone maybe telling a little bit about yourselves, what you're working on right now, what you have coming up, what you want these good people to know about. And we'll start with.
On the end, actually, this time.
On the end? You want to go the other way?
Last shall be first.
Oh, wow. That's deep. All right. So then David Wobbley down there, he has many things he does. Tell us about some.
Let's see. Well, I'm currently writing. You can hear me anyway, right? Yeah. Currently writing Power Man and Iron Fist and Nighthawk.
All right.
Later this year, Occupy Avengers, also from Marvel. September, we'll see the release of. Are you ready for this one? Drum roll.
Yes.
This what I can't believe I'm saying it out loud. Tarzan on the Planet of the Apes. And I'll tell you the truth, because we're all like, yo, somebody's got to do something about Tarzan. Somebody's got to. You can't. There's just like no fixing it. There's no fixing Tarzan. The only way you can do is put him on Planet of the Apes. And then Tim Fielder, I'm working with Tim Fielder on a project called Prison City that does not have a publisher yet, but he announced it a couple days ago because that's Tim Fielder. I mean, you know how Tim is. Tim's like, has anyone met him? Like, he is the greatest of all time. So
He's very excited.
we're looking for a publisher for that one. So that's all I got going right now, right? That's all I got going. Okay.
That's enough.
Oh, and yeah, and I wrote Shaft for Dynamite, but that's
done?
it's done for now. Yeah. Well, there'll be another series or something.
Awesome.
My name is Shauna Mills. Currently, actually working on Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. But what's the other thing? It's kind of. But I'm also I'm developing my first game at the moment. As you can see there, can't tell you much about it, but it's going to be dope. Yeah.
Pass it on. I'm Jeremy Love. I guess what I'm most known for is Bayou, which was initially published by DC Comics. If you guys can all keep a secret, Dark Horse is going to put out a hardcover next year of the complete Bayou. Don't tell anybody. And
Nobody can hear you, it's fine.
I'm currently working on a series which I call Dracula Meets Othello. It's called The Black Lotus, and it'll be out in February from Dark Horse 2. So, and I'm writing and drawing that one. I don't want to share credit. So.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Woods, and I'm currently the artist for Niobe. She inspires. Right now, we're currently working on the 4th issue, and so that'll be available at the end of the summer. And then after that, I'll be working on Vampire Hunter D, doing some cover work.
My name is Ron Wimberly. I'm known for, I guess, Forensic Cats. I put out through Vertigo, but a new edition is coming out from Image, twice as big. 10-page sketchbook in it, hardback. I'm working on Bratman for Stila, which is like it's an app, a ninja comic about gentrification and appropriation. I'm also I'm going to be in Attack on Titan, the anthology coming out from Lagancia and Random House in September. Also, Prince of Cats is coming out in September. And I'm taking way too long to work on my Image title, Sunset Park, but it's coming out, be patient. Thank you.
Oh,
And if you go to SPX, I have an exclusive, a little goodie that I'm working on putting out, so. Nice. Woo! Oh, wait. Also, if you go to the CXC, I'm the resident there, the Thurber resident.
Yeah,
so I'll have an exhibition from September to February. Just like a whole retrospective. If you're in Ohio, check that out. It's the Ohio Museum, Columbus Museum of Art. Yep.
People know CXC, Comics Crossroads.
Comics Crossroads.
It's a convention festival thing at Ohio State.
Yes.
The Ohio State, you're supposed to say. Okay, so we're going to start with a quote that Ron sent me, and I don't remember who wrote it. Okay, that's all it's going to say. I'll read it right now. The critic says, while Basquiat envisioned commodification as a way out of the racialized body, to the extent that it socially valorized him, the requirements of steady output undermined his independence and relationship to painting, making the artist fatally aware of his shameful status as a racialized subject, even under privileged conditions. So, to start with, if everyone or anyone would like to address this topic, and it's probably not Ron, since we came up with the quote.
Wow, we going to the deep cuts right off.
Good. We don't have that much time.
Okay.
We gotta start. But we were talking before, you were talking about the sort of tension in between, and forgive me if I put it the wrong way, but like using identity in art as a means of empowerment, but once you commodify it, it sort of takes away that empowerment, and there's this tension between that.
Well, I mean, I think you get the benefits of, it's a weird way, you know, there's a book that just came out, I haven't even read yet, but I was watching the author talk about it. It's like Invisible Man Got the Whole World Watching. What's the name of the author? You guys know? Invisible Man Got the Whole World Watching. You guys heard that book? Anyway, but it talks about invisibility and hypervisibility, and kind of like, so how a lot of the victims of police shootings they're invisible until they're you know they're shot, and then at a certain point they become hypervisible. Their entire life is put out there, and you know I wouldn't compare. I would say there's something similar that happens. You know, it's different, but something similar in the sense that when you look to gain a space in comics, if you're a Black creator, and you use, in a way, your value for your Blackness, but it's a catch-22 because when you commodify it, I don't even know how to explain how that value gets tainted, or it's confusing. And then you may end up playing to the performance of Blackness to sell that commodity, right? And then there are people who perform a certain type of Blackness because it's a more valuable commodity versus like, you know, like maybe a more nuanced or organic type of identity that someone has. Like, I remember a while ago, I was pitching, actually the book that's coming out from Image, I pitched to an editor at Dark Horse, and this was many years ago. I hadn't even done Sentences yet, which was my first graphic novel. And this gentleman was like, this person was like, you know, we really want to do something in horror, maybe, you know, with the Black experience or whatever. So this is the commodity item. Yeah.
Michael Denzel Smith.
Michael Denzel Smith, yeah. So, you know, check it out. I mean, I haven't read it yet, but
That's who wrote the Invisible Man Got the Whole World Watching.
Yeah, well, like, I'm very interested in it. Put it on the list. But so, and I gave him the pitch that I gave to Image for Sunset Park. And then when I finished, it's like, oh, well, you know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he essentially said to me, I was thinking something more like, you know, Wu-Tang meets like, you know, werewolves or something. You know what I mean? Like something, the spectacle of Black identity that he was used to, you know, that he knew how to package and box and sell, right? A spectacle that white audiences could consume, you know? And like, that's difficult. And in that book, but they're talking about Basquiat, and that seemed like an issue that he had to deal with. Like at one point, it was very valuable for him to be the art brute, you know, like the, you know, idiot savant Black artist. But at the same time, like that's obviously not who he was, you know?
Right.
So his survival and his destruction were kind of caught up in the performance of his identity.
Right.
So, for the rest of our panelists, I mean, how have you dealt with, have you thought about, how do you think about identity and commodification? How do you feel about trying to sell your work but not kind of pollute it in a way, or let the selling take away from what you intend to communicate to the audience? Sound right?
That's all right.
Okay. Did that make sense to you guys, or do you have things to say?
For me, personally, I'm going to try to piggyback on what Ron was saying. I think as a Black female, I hate to throw it out there like that, but I'm just gonna be
Throw it out.
honest.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think that they know where you're going to be coming from. They think they know what you're going to say or do before you do it. And a lot of times when people see my work in the past, they will think I'm a white man. And there is an artist named Ashley Wood.
He's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's in Australia. And he's Medicare, some of his work. But even if they didn't know about that person, just seeing my work, they wouldn't expect that from a black female. And I used to think that, well, I still think it's unfair. As far as doing some type of dance to live up to expectations, I'm at the point now, I'm like, damn, if you do that, if you don't, if you rock with it, cool. If you don't, be cool. It is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes I get tired of asking that question because it just seems like the very act of being a black creator is automatically political. And I just wish sometimes that I didn't have the burden of every choice or every artistic choice that I make being scrutinized on a political level. Sometimes they're just strictly creative choices. But on the other hand, as I was writing the new book I'm working on, the horror book, when I actually read it, I saw it was basically a very graphic revenge fantasy against colonialism, imperialism, racism, and I was like, whoa, this is, and it was automatically political. So on one hand, I'm like, don't put that on me, and then on the other hand, everything I write, automatically I start seeing stuff. I start seeing political shit in it. I'm like, what the, one thing I do not worry about is making it into a commodity because it's work. This is commercial art. Comic books are commercial art for the most part, and everything that we do, when you have deadlines, when you have a publisher, that's commercial art, and I gotta pay bills. But so I don't think we should be guilty for using it as a commodity. And while it was empowering to me to write these stories, I think once we sell it, we can turn that empowerment over to the audience.
Commercial art, yeah. Well, I guess first of all, I do what the hell I want. I'm my first customer, I guess that's it. If it's plain and simple, I just do what the hell I want. It sounds pretty vague saying it but I guess I've never been that kind of person to fit or try to fit into something, whether it was that of the circle of my sisters and brothers or that of the circle of whoever that is. I was always very, very independent. So, no, I don't see myself ever conforming to that. Yeah.
Basically what everybody else just said, throwing in a little extra, ladies and gentlemen, and parents we were talking about this earlier, and I said that I believe that the black existence in America is the existence of being a commodity. We came here over as a commodity, and as we have spent now several centuries here, it's been how are we commodified in one capacity or another. When I'm doing my work is the commodity. The question is, how do I sell myself? Because we were talking about branding ourselves. What are we going to do? So it's what's the personality that I put forth, and how do I present myself in public, so that not whether or not you buy me, because I'm not for sale, but it's whether or not you're going to accept me or not. And do I give a shit? No, I don't. Walking through with my Black Lives Matter sticker on and seeing people react to that like, well, if you want to say something, say something. But there's some swords over here, so I'll challenge your ass to a duel. Right?
If anybody wants to do that, that would be great. Maybe not later.
But like Jeremy and I have talked about it, and John and I have talked about it, and there is that, like I really don't believe I write anything political. I don't believe there's anything political within my work. I think most people would disagree with that, right? John would call me up and be like, man, I can't believe what you put in about da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I guess that was there. But as artists, so much of what we carry around with us comes out onto, am I putting Black Lives Matter stuff in my work because I'm trying to make a statement about Black Lives Matter? Well, yeah, Black Lives Matter, and it's something that needs to be talked about, but it's like to me, it's not a political statement. That's like a statement and an assertion of our right to be human beings. And so if there's anything that I'm trying to put out there, I mean, my one goal as a creator is to help us hold on to the humanity that is constantly being denied to us. And I always go back to, of all people, William Marshall, the guy who played Blackula, once said to me, we have to learn how to activate our dreams. As Black people in America, we have to activate our dreams. Because if we don't, it is nothing but the promise of the continued disdain that has been dumped upon us. Kind of messed that up, right? So everything I do is about activating my dreams, but helping other people realize that they have to activate it, especially young people, because otherwise we're just going to be in the same position that we've always been in.
Could I say something in regard to a couple of things?
Sure.
In regard to politics, I think if your body itself, right, is subject to destruction or dehumanization by institutions, right, our government, yeah, then the act of being itself and being free it is a political act. And in regard to commodity, I don't want to conflate the discussion of comics as a commodity and identity as a commodity, which is like, of course, comics are a commodity. But, when the one way that you can even sell your comics is on the back of your identity as a commodity, right, then that can be problematic, So, for instance, the only time you get a call to do editorial, if that's Black History Month, then that's problematic, And at a certain point, do you say, you may get the urge to be like, you know what, I'm only hearing from you guys in February. You know what I mean? That makes me feel some type of way. You know what I mean? I work all year round. And hey, maybe I just want to do a romance story, right? But somehow that becomes politicized. And somehow they find a way to commodify the blackness of that. So this is what I mean more than just even the act of selling or being yourself, Just to clarify, because you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is so much deeper than I was expecting.
Hey, we're loving it.
What do we think about the Iron Man girl?
Yeah, it's all
with
good.
the, no.
Yeah.
I like Harry. Check this out. So I was thinking about, this term, speaking of commodities, right? This idea of diversity has been bandied about a lot recently because, for various reasons. I guess diversity sells too, and everything's a commodity, and like capitalism, right? But how do you guys feel about, starting with Ashley, how diversity is being kind of formulated in mainstream comics, and how do you think that this kind of Black independent comics kind of movement is dealing with some of those issues?
And I just feel like everyone wants to see something new and fresh. We've been seeing, no offense to white people, we've been seeing the same type of what's the word? Sensibility, the same types of sensibilities, movies, all types of entertainment. So everyone wants something fresh. And
Same type of white people.
And different audiences want to be represented. They want to see themselves. I'm a part of that, and that's why I do what I do today. Because I grew up, watching certain movies and engaging in video games, comics, what have you. And what's happening now, this whole shift in thinking, and I guess this awakening that people are having these new perspectives on race relations. Personally, I wish all of this wasn't happening. I just wish everything was simple, but that's not the world we live in. It's affecting, I don't want to say too much, but it's affecting the inside, you know, regarding who gets what type of job. You know, certain people who will get first pick with jobs, that's no longer the case. You know, a lot of things are changing. How they feel about that, they're not too happy about it, you know, but at the same time, the door is opening for other artists such as ourselves, you know. So it's bittersweet, you know, depending on what side of, you know, the whole situation you stand on. Personally, I'm happy because if this shit wasn't happening, I wouldn't be up here now talking to you guys, you know. So I just wish everyone does.
And I think that the good thing is the audience, the companies are responding to the readers' demands. You know, it's not going to just fly just to have a few black superheroes or a few like Latino superheroes. That's not just going to fly anymore. Now everyone's looking at, okay, who's drawing it, who's writing it, who's doing it. You know, you need people behind the scenes and in front. And I just hope that, you know, we get from a black female Iron Man to more things like Prince of Cats and things like this. Things that are truly original, not like the black version of 60-year-old superheroes. That's more of, I mean, me as a, I'm a nerd just like everybody else at Comic-Con. And I have like an immediate emotional response to seeing like The Thing or some other Marvel character, and I understand that. But you know, once we get past that, and once that becomes normal, I just look forward to the day where a black female Iron Man comes on the scene and there's no like editorials about it. It just happens. And then I'm like, okay, that we dealt with that. I'm just like encouraged. I just like to say I'm encouraged by what's going on now because, you know, you got like what Dave is doing on Power Man and Iron Fist, you got like Prince of Cats, you got like, you know, it's so, you have no excuse not to support a minority creator. There's no excuse because whatever you like, somebody is creating something at a high level that will satisfy that. And everyone on the stage and a lot of the people we talk to, we're not putting out bullshit. I mean, this stuff is it's comparable and it's good. I think that is empowering in itself because we're kind of owning we're kind of owning our creations. But I'm just waiting for that day to where, especially the audience that reads comic books are more open to news stories or things that aren't like a continuing series or, you know, something that is a one-off. But it's getting there.
I just got to throw in that I have done some bullshit, so.
Thanks, Dan.
I keep saying this. I've been on like more diversity panels than anyone in the community. And so I feel like it's old hat saying it. I like to differentiate that there's diversity with a capital D and diversity with a lowercase d. Diversity with a lowercase d is nothing more than a marketing campaign that's used to get consumer dollars, and it's a bait and switch more than anything else. Whereas diversity with a capital D is the way you choose to live your life. It's the ideology by which you move through life. It's how you see people, how you interact with people. And so most of these companies that we're talking about, these big corporations, the entertainment conglomerates, diversity is lowercase d, right? And so I have no illusions as to the role that I play in that corporate machinery, right? And it's diversity with a lowercase d. But that doesn't mean that I can't bring my perception of diversity into the work and try to sneak it in when I can. Sometimes it gets past editorial, sometimes it gets stopped. But it's really about putting forth a vision of the world that not necessarily that I live in, but that as I'd like to see it be a little bit more of, because that's I think part of what we're doing is we're trying to create mythologies, places to escape, you know. Like it's I want to see more black movies, but I don't necessarily want to see another version of 12 Years a Slave, right? Because I've seen that. I want to see something that leaves me feeling happy and uplifted. Although I do hope that 12 Years a Slave was a feel-good movie, because he only spent 12 years.
Can I spring off of that? Like, so the interesting thing about that is like, so yeah, these corporations will capitalize on the commodity of blackness if they can, with or without you, right? And if you're willing to toe the line to a degree often, then like it's how likely you will maintain your position in that space sometimes. You know what I mean? So capital D, diversity, is controlling like the means of producing those commodities. You know what I mean? From yourself and your identity. Whereas like lowercase d, diversity, is just trading on those commodities. You know, be it like black people, queer people, trans people. It's like, yo, can we sell it without even actually opening up the means of production to the people who, you know, we're trading on?
With comics though, it's like the means of production are like it's available to just about anyone.
Right.
And it's,
so you can
do
it.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember reading David's, but when we first met, like, how long was that? Don't even say. Don't say. Yeah. Don't say. But I remember reading his magazine, the Badass Mofo magazine. That was something that you controlled. You created it. The first comic book I did, I just scraped some money together and printed it out.
Zuda, right?
Exactly. Well, but even before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like exactly. But even then, the threshold to get on the on-ramp is just your talent. You can put up a webcomic. If you have talent, pen, piece of paper, some internet access, then you can, your work is out there. Kickstarter, things like that. So exactly. So I mean, the overall democratizing of pop culture has, I think, played a big part in the rise of like black creators, because now you don't have to go to the majors to get what you want.
You have the keys.
Exactly.
And
You have major keys.
just to bring it back to the book, just for a sec, like the reason we called it Black Comix with the X rather than the CS is because we wanted to reference that sort of independent movement. And the entire point of the book and a lot of the work John and I do as sort of cultural advocates is to, find new spaces and open up new audiences for people to display the types of works you're talking about, the personal works, the works that the artist has ownership of. And that was really all I was saying. Continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
How about it ties it all in, the vision that you guys have, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Where does that X come from in comics in general? Because that's kind of a Ohio scene, right? Like a lot of those guys.
More underground.
Yeah, I think it's, and maybe somebody knows a better answer, but yeah, I think it was kind of the 60s underground stuff. But I've seen it used also for like 80s alternative comics.
Dennis Kitchen might know this.
Dennis Kitchen might know that. But the other thing is, that's true, a lot of that stuff. But the other thing is, it was more like we wanted to take it and just sort of that general sense of it's not exactly comic books as has been stereotypically portrayed. In the sense of, when you're talking about, Jeremy, you're talking about, superheroes or ongoing series and stuff. Whenever it's comics with that X, or sometimes you'll see like women's comics and women spelled with a Y or like the I or stuff, it's sort of taking that reference, that knowledge that people have of pop culture, but kind of twisting it, kind of turning it, and sort of helping them see different sides, different perspectives on what they thought was familiar. That makes sense.
And see, and I thought it was in reference to Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which was rated X by an all-white jury. And so I was like, oh, that's why they used X.
That's the other reason, actually. Yes.
Yeah, forget all that other stuff. What he says is better.
That's that. Let's see. So, I guess
They did get herpes while making the book, though.
that's a funny story. We're not recording this, are we?
So I do want to speak, not to put people on the spot, but I want to actually talk a little bit more about the intersectional aspects of diversity too. I mean, Sean, what does it feel like being a black woman working in this? I'm sorry, but there's not a lot of, that I can see, and I don't see everything, but I don't see a lot of women of color working in those spaces. What are some of those types of negotiations that you have to kind of utilize in those spaces? You work on like really high level spaces. So
How do you navigate?
how do you navigate? Yeah.
How do you navigate those spaces?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll try to be nice.
I'll try to be nice. It was
Really
a little
don't.
uneasy. It was a little uneasy at first, but it wasn't because of me being a black woman. I think actually it took maybe some months before I even realized I was the only black woman there, sitting amongst other storyboard artists. If you didn't know, I didn't really say that before. I'm a storyboard artist for Star Wars Rebels, but I am the only female that's there right now. And it took me a minute to realize that. After I realized that, it felt great, but also very lonely. But I feel like I'm a part of something. Like I'm opening doors, yeah, I guess that's the way it feels. And I think, funny enough, some of the CEOs and some of the people that are like in power right now are black women. It's beautiful. And it's only even more encouraging. It's only like even more, it feels better. It feels like, like the kid that comes up to my table when I do have tables, like I could just tell her, hey kid, you have a chance. Come follow me, I'll show you. You feel like, I don't know. Actually, I only came to California 3 years ago, and immediately I felt alone, very cliquey. But I also started to realize I felt responsible. I say I give a crap, but I just do what I want. But I guess I started to realize what I wanted to do was not just entertain myself, but I guess encourage the little dorks that follow me. I like the little dorks. I want to be kind of, I guess, their step to something big too. But I feel responsible. That's it.
Actually, you want to follow up?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the conversations that happen behind the scenes weren't really geared towards female employees entertainment. I only have one story, but basically like 2-3 weeks ago, I was working on the comic, and I spent 2 weeks negotiating like these designs for this character for the comic, and there was another person involved, which I didn't know about until we received feedback on the designs. And so I was working side by side with a woman who was over the project. So we sent the designs off to this other person, and it was a guy, and he had a lot of money. He was funding the project, and his response was, he had like this stipulation as to what this character had to meet as far as her boob size. He said nobody wanted to F her, like no teenagers or old men wanted to F her. She wasn't beautiful, and it's like, okay, there's a certain way to, communicate what you're going for. So long story short, I told the female I was working with, well, give me this guy's information so I can talk to him direct. I'm a straightforward person, I'm not aggressive, I can be, but I'm just straightforward, just hit them with logic. So I said, well, let me talk to him directly. Let's cut out the middleman, no offense to you. But since he feels so passionate about it, let me hear it straight from him. And I guess he didn't like it. He was just like, oh, I'm the money, and you're the peon. And, just like real petty. And
I keep it 100, like, I just want no pressure. I want to put people like that on blast. Like, I mean, you know, I mean, I think I have a reputation. I'm just curious, is there an animal in the name of that company? The name of the company. Is it a company?
Yes, a company.
Is there an animal in the name of it? I'm just curious.
Rhymes with.
How did I feel about it personally? I didn't care because at this point, people are people, and it's all types of just bad shit going around. You know, so you just roll with the punches and you do what you gotta do. You know, tunnel vision, blinders. I just don't really care. As long as I can do what I need to do, whatever.
So, I would love to see how some people from the audience feel about some of these things. And anyone have any questions? Are we gonna use the mic? Are we gonna use the mic?
Yeah, we're recording audio. So.
I was gonna say before the first question comes up, I mean, one of the things, as we're talking about diversity or whatever the hell that means, one of the problems that we're dealing with is it's not just creators and it's not just the content that we're creating, but it's also like the editorial staff that we're dealing with and the marketing staff that we're dealing with and all that. It's like I feel like I have to carry around a copy of Howard Zinn's Speech of the United States, you know, Black History for Dummies, and about like 10 other books with me all the time. And the problem is like, without getting into specifics, but I mean, I've been asked some really dumb fucking questions, like to the point where it's like, how are you smart enough to breathe on your own? You can ask me a question.
You need to lose your job.
Yeah, and it's really difficult. So that's the other problem. It's like, it's not just what, you know, just you try to put something in a book and then they don't get it, and then you have to explain. I mean, we're constantly having to justify our blackness.
Okay. So this is my thing. Like, I want to take some time out to give like a little bit, give an opportunity for white people in editorial or anywhere, you know, dealing with this sort of thing. If you hear this, don't do this. That's the old cover. The new cover is better. That wasn't even supposed to go to press. But anyway, so all right. If you're about to say, well, I'm just a, you know, such and such white person, I don't really understand this, right? Like, don't say that shit, right? If you're an editorial, it's like, you need to, well, you should know about it, right? Like, if you can read F. Scott Fitzgerald, you're not from the Gilded Age, but you understand it, then you should be able to understand, like, a contemporary black person, just, you know, use your imagination.
Exactly. Something like,
Do you write this one?
I'm not writing this one.
Well, I'm just a white person, but I'm not an editor. No, I'm on ahead time.
What they're saying is, I'm a white person, so I can't put in the effort to understand.
There we go.
Yes.
Yes.
So before
That's
you
why-
say that, I know that's what you're about to say.
I usually just lead with, I'm just a dumbass, but sir, you have a question?
Read your account.
Sure. So the last like 40 years, we've seen kind of like this evolution of kind of exploitation in different kinds of mediums, right? In the 70s, it was kind of in film. The 80s, it was in music, as we got to like from like power hip hop to like ancient hip hop, right? The 90s was like television, and you know, if you don't actively control the images from the very beginning.
I was going to start with just the nature of stereotypes is fixity. I mean, that's what the word means. It means, you know, stereotypes means hard or fixed. So this notion of them being mutable is something that is against their very nature. So we have to, I think, continue to create images that fight against those particular pieces because they are constructed to constrict us. You know? So that's what my answer would be.
You should have held the mic so you could drop it. Took y'all to school real quick.
No, but I want other people to
It's difficult, you know, because it's when you're working in corporate comics, right? There's the fans, there's the readers, and they view the characters as someone real, and they invest so much in themselves, especially when it's an underrepresented audience, right? But the corporations that own them see you as nothing more, see these characters nothing more than an exploitable intellectual property that they can make money off of, right? And so then as a creator, that leaves you in the worst position ever, which is you are the overseer on the plantation, okay? And you have to figure out what kind of overseer am I gonna be? And it's the worst fucking feeling when you realize that, that this little kid over here looks up to this character and is put so much meaning into it, and then these corporate bigwigs are like, yo, we're just gonna make a movie out of this character, so we don't really give a shit about it, right? And you're just trying to put enough humanity into that character so that kid feels like he matters or she matters, right? But they don't give a shit about it. I mean, that's what it is. And so it's this constant battle of this is the reason why W.E.B. Du Bois is one of my heroes, why the quote about dual consciousness is on my wall right by my computer, and I think about it every day. It's like, well, who am I writing for? How am I writing? I'm writing for the people that pay me a paycheck. So that makes me, I'm like, hey, we sit boss, but then I'm also like writing for the kids and be like, yeah, fuck the man. So how do you get those two? How do you find that balance? And then, it's a lot of it is through medication.
Well, I think even
The three M's.
Yeah, exactly. Even with independent creators, we like I was talking to Stanford here. Stanford had a good statement. He said that we all have when some artist and you can fill in the blanks who makes a living drawing hot women and things like that, and then when someone calls him on, he's like, well, you're being politically correct. Well, the problem with that is it's easy. Well, it's easy.
I wonder who we're talking.
It's easy to accuse people of being politically correct when you don't have, like Stanford said last night, you don't have skin in the game. It's like, okay, why don't you draw a male penis and make it look very graphic and do that? Then we can talk. But so we all have skin in the game. So when we do something that's exploitive, or when we do something that, and I know myself, I do things that I want to intentionally make people uncomfortable, especially with this horror book, because the point is not to feel good. It's horror, it's true horror. But and then a part of me is just wants to be a jerk. But I don't think that the audience and we are treading on dangerous ground when we think we always have to feel good or we always have to agree with every creative decision. Some of the movies that I really love, I find really problematic, but I still can watch them on a certain level. So on one hand, I think Black creators and creators of any color who are working within their own space, I know, and this might be bad, but I kind of give them a pass because they have skin in the game. It's not like they are exploiting someone else's pain, struggles, and things like that. So I give Black creators a pass.
I would love to get to another question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The gentleman's been standing for a second.
Hey, I want to know from the perspective of a white audience member, what is it that we can do to prevent more mainstream movies about slaves, because that's all we ever see.
Right. Well, I disagree with that because I know a lot of people say that, but come on. 12 years, you can count on your finger how many mainstream Hollywood movies are about slavery. I think there should be a slavery channel. There should be 10 slavery shows, and there should be slavery movies all the time. If you look at the History Channel, is basically Hitler, right? So they should have a slavery channel. So anytime you want to educate yourself,
I still want to see a version of 12 Years a Slave where like it's not about the white good guy and the white bad guy working things out. At the end. I want to see a version of 12 Years a Slave that's maybe like a procedural or something. Like I want to see all of that,
Well,
and I want to see other stuff.
Well, not talking about slavery and American history. That's like, to me, that's the biggest part of American history.
It is.
You can't even talk about anything that has
That's
to do
like talking about rain, but not talking about water.
Right. We're gonna do something about rain, but we're gonna leave out the H2O part. So that's my stand. I want a slavery champion.
Finish this question. This is why white people don't like us.
My question stems from the fact that, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, the message of, when we get like another 12 years a slave or something similar, the message that sends to white people is that this is a thing that happened, but like it's not a thing anymore. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And so we don't see all that many movies in the mainstream that are showing the modern Black experience. Now, what can a white audience do to kind of promote that sort of thing?
Deconstruct.
I think.
Go for it. Y'all work that shit out.
You did create the mess.
One thing you have to remember is that capitalism hides process. That's part of what it is. Capitalism hides process. Part of how it's
So hard, John.
and most issues are systemic in nature, right? And so, we have to actually come together, like you're saying. I mean, they're complex problems, right? And we work through these things narratively because we are made of stories, and we just keep editing those stories. But it's really difficult when you try to knock out, like you try to kill a villain. Like the American narrative is about like the end. The American narrative is about like, oh, we can kill this one person, and then the credits roll, right? Yeah, so that's not how we can do it. We have to work together to change those things. This gentleman has been. I want to.
I wasn't impatient. There's two. Okay, I'll go with. There's a lot of things going in my mind, but I'll go with this one. One of the biggest challenges I know about our people is that our identity and what we can do is go through a filter of what white people think about us or how they have treated us. We really don't, possibly before we were moved over as slaves and we were, in Africa, we had our own land. It was us. Our origin of thinking about our identity was us. We're here, we're handicapped by whatever we do. There's something in our heads that always goes, how is it valued by them? By the way, white people, we have no hatred for you. That's not it.
Speak for
We
yourself.
just need. That's not right. It's a matter of, instead of know thyself, and in a lot of ways, we don't. How can Black Comix and African American entertainment aid in us saying, this is who we are, and we value it by our own identity, not so much by our history, which was tainted by white effect, or if we do something with money, eventually we'll have to be affected by white power. But it's just, it's us, and it's us, and it's us. And that's not a hatred thing. It's kind of like Harlem. Harlem,
Well,
it was
maybe.
us.
I don't know. History, there are different sides on perspectives on that too. There was a lot of playing to power in Harlem, even during the Harlem Renaissance. So, but
That may, by the way, what I'm saying may never happen. I mean, because we're America. We're the melting pot. That's what America's about.
let's see.
That's why racism is so
I think
hard.
you have to give each individual creator the benefit of being an individual.
Yes.
And I think that every time a Black creator creates something, it should be viewed in the context of all Blackness. And I think that's the best thing that we can do. is give everyone their individuality. Like, is just judge everything on its own merits, and what it is as a product and what the intentions were, without the baggage, because it's an unfair baggage, piece of baggage. It's something that's unique to Black creators, female creators, gay creators. Everything that you do is viewed in the concept of your gender, your race, or your sexual orientation. And I think the biggest leap we can make is letting all of us just be ourselves and be individuals.
I just wanted to mention, since we're wrapping up, the Black Comix book, the original one, our intention with the new one is always to, like, the title leads with that notion of, this is commodified identity, right? But the hope is that once you open the book and see that every single artist is entirely different from every single other artist, that you start to be like, oh, humans.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I think we want to create a space where you can celebrate Black identity, celebrate individual achievement, and just like have the kind of conversation I hope we've had here.
I have something. I think it was more so to answer this gentleman here. Hi. Thank you. Well, basically, I feel like there is progress. The fact that we're all sitting here and hearing each other and answering questions. And working, like we're all making this political movement, and to change, I feel like a lot of the times people want it to happen like this, but they fail to see what's happening right now. And even with all that's going on in the world, we have people like you showing up. Thank you. And the fact that
I thought you said thank you. I thought it was sorry.
it's not to create just to allow us to create and expose it to the world, and we will get something more than just 12 years of slavery, and we will, just allow it to happen. It will happen, it's like organic.
Like, I want to piggyback off of what Shani was saying. Like, from my experience from working on Niobe, it's a project geared towards promoting a Black female main character, right? At the end of the day, if the story is really good, no one's going to care about what you look like, what color you are. Initially, people were interested in the project because of Amanda, but the project is still successful because of the art and the story, and that's the only thing that really matters.
So I know we need to stop. So the one thing I was going to say was, I did not know until just now that Damian was white. I thought
That was my
light skin, right? His name is Damian, right? And so I feel like that in and of itself speaks to the hope and the possibility and how we can come together as all human beings. Because really, this whole time I was like, damn, it is so cool to be around someone who's lighter than me. And you just, you guys got it going on too. Like, seriously, straight up. So
you can tell from the facial hair on that one. There's something, we're still over time, something, That is,
I would like to sit down. So we're out of time. Thank you so much to make that.